Good morning. Welcome to Hatcheck Studios. RT Bear here. How is everyone? It's been a while since I've done one of these morning live streams. It's a little late for some. Still morning here in Texas. Still morning on the West Coast, I do believe. East Coast, you guys are getting ready for lunch. So anyway, technically, in some places, it's still morning. So this is the morning Hullaballoo. I haven't done one of these in a while. And so I just thought I'd take a little time off of work. I've been working for a couple hours already this morning and thought I'd hang out, touch base with you guys. Like I said, it's been a while. And I do miss you guys. I do miss our interactions and all that good stuff. So if you guys are listening, if there is anyone out there, if you could give me a sign of life in the stream here, I do appreciate it. It helps me because I'm not sure if I pushed all the right buttons and pulled all the right levers. This is really complex for a man of my age, and I've never been a technology guy. So, there we go. Little delay, I think, but we got rolling. Get those doggies rolling. It's 11 in Eastern Texas. Yeah. It's 11:12 to be exact. We got Normie Nerd. Good morning, good day, my friend. Looks like we're getting some people in here. That's good. It's kind of sad if you're live streaming to nobody. That's kind of not good. IG72. Howdy, my friend. One slick dude. Hell yeah. Look at my hair. Oh my gosh, look at this. I need a haircut. Look at my beard. Ay. I've been working too hard. I haven't seen the light of day in a couple weeks. Greetings, Art. How you doing, slick? We got Marcus. Killigrew. What's up? Oh no. The dread pirate Andino Palacio. I thought Art was dead. No, just working my butt off on black and white. Yeah, it's coming along. I'm going to do, I got 2 pages I'm working on right now. It's a sequence. And I'm going to show you guys. It's a little work in progress, but I'm going to show those pages off later. I'm going to tease them, and then later I will show those pages off. And but the main man, it's really been kind of. I'll keep with you in the chat, you guys. Keep chiming in. I'm cool with that. This is very interactive, so always feel free to comment. Heckle, whatever. Heckle in the case of Andino. But yeah, this James Gunn thing, DCU. There's been announcements and talk, and to be honest, I've kind of let it just kind of slow burn. And the DC stuff I haven't been too interested in. They really burned me early on, and so I kind of just turned it off. And then with the Marvel stuff now, I'm actually, hold on. I'm actually kind of, I almost feel like I'm done with it. I actually broke down and I watched the Wakanda Forever, the Black Panther movie. And there was nothing there. There was nothing there for me. There was nothing there that was entertaining. There was nothing. Well, the main thing is there was nothing there entertaining at all. So, so I'm kind of just like, these movies, whatever. And so then the James Gunn, announcement was made that he's coming in with this Saffron guy, and they're going to be the savior of DC, cinematic universe. And we're supposed to get excited, and I guess some people are, but I'm not, and I'm going to give you my hot takes on it. But I noticed we got a couple more people in here, and I want to say hi to everybody. Marcus says it's 12:30 in, what is it? I don't know where NC is. Suicidal tendencies M. Bonner? No. Ahoy, art and blessings. Thank you. Um, Dye black. Dye my beard. Like, nah, I don't know. I think it would really stand out. You guys are used to seeing me with the gray hair. I think it'd be really weird. I'm in tech. You haven't missed much. It's weird because like in the day, electronics I could handle, like hooking up VCRs, and I put my own stereos in my cars, my various cars, tape decks, things like that. But the computer stuff, it's not. There's too many variables. There's too many different ways. I don't know really how to troubleshoot it. It's an interesting beast. I mean, it's amazing that I've gotten this far, to be quite honest. Roland says, going to try dyeing your beard again then. It kind of went blue. It was weird. Maybe, I don't know. If you guys want me to, I'm here to serve you. Chris Hernandez says, how's the ice storm going? Oh my gosh, it's been raining for at least 7 days straight. Today, the sun came out and we're supposed to be 15 degrees warmer today. So it's been a little cold here in Texas, but it hasn't been bad. And also, to be honest, I haven't really left the studio here. I'm just becoming just a shut-in. Hold on for a sec. Sorry, got a little bit of congestion. More live art lessons. Possibly. I've been talking to Comic Book Bob about doing portfolio reviews, and that's kind of how my YouTube started. I did not so much tutorials, but just videos of me working, and then I started getting into reviews, art critiques, things like that. What is Hullaballoo? Hullaballoo is a fun going on. It's a party. Oh no, the dog. I don't care about DC, so no idea, no impact regarding Gunn. Yeah, I got thoughts. I'll express them. We're almost caught up here. It's funny. I agree with you, but my normie friend just loves all these films. I thought the Zack Snyder stuff started off really bad. Namor. I don't know who that character was. They shouldn't have used the name Namor. Namor. Wow, that movie was really bad. I'm glad I was working while I was watching it, so I didn't really pay attention to it. Oh, North Carolina. I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have known that. It's below zero in 40-mile-per-hour winds. Wow. Bundle up, stay warm, stay safe. I hope you don't have to go out in that kind of weather. We got Gordon Goodbrother. Good morning, Art. When is the due date for Black and White art contest? If you still want to enter, feel free. I have been a little delinquent with that, but when I get the new pieces, I stock them away in a folder. So we are still going to, as we get closer to the printing of Black and White, Man versus Machine, we will announce the contest, and I'll show off some more of the artwork as well. So if you still want to draw some artwork for the trading card, feel free. And what it is it's an art contest. Draw Black and White, come up with the title for the artwork, and then we're gonna have a contest. The top 5 that Pamela, my wife, she runs Hack Shack Studios here, and she's my writing partner. We're going to pick, and then we're going to make those artwork or those pieces into trading cards. So it'll be like a little mini trading card set, like five cards like fan art. I think it'll be cool. And a lot of the artwork we've gotten so far is pretty amazing. 60s British movie. I was thinking about like doing something about like music, doing a music show. I just got to find somebody to do it with. It'd be boring if I just did it myself. Survival Infinity 0088. What's up? Oh man, Terra Wombat Art. Hey, Dynamite Family sent me my missing black and white. What? Or finally, wow. What did it take 2 years? Well, I'm glad you got it. You stuck with that a lot for a long time. You can draw black and white in color if you want. Numbskull! What's up? Maybe we, Numbskull and I, could do a music show together. You need to find somebody that knows the same music. Somebody that grew up around the same time. And I do believe Numbskull is Del Keown. I hope I got that right. Let's see. Dave the Space Wizard. I haven't seen any DC or Marvel movies since Endgame. All interest has been lost for me. But thanks to that, I have found Comicsgate. Yeah, Dave, welcome, my friend. Oh shit. Okay. Well, Del says sure. I know a lot about a little. I know, me too. Dale. We got chance for Del Keown. But yeah, I have this article, and I'm not going to read the article per se. I'm just going to use it as like a point of reference for me. But before I go there, I want a few thoughts about James Gunn. James Gunn, to me, he I heard a lot of interviews and stuff when he was doing Guardians and his not documentaries, but like commentaries about the movies and stuff. And I absolutely want to give it to him. The first Guardians movie is really good. Like, it's inspired good. Like, the music, the soundtrack, all the character development, everything is really, really good. And the tone is fantastic and all that. And so I really like the first one. But then for me, volume 2 of Guardians, it was like he didn't quite understand what he did the first time. And it felt like a parody. It felt like a parody of the first movie. And what I mean by that is like all the jokes, all the stuff that's in there. In the first one, it felt like it was sincere. It felt like it was from character. It was from the story. It came from real places. In the volume 2, it felt like they were just kind of shoehorned in. Like, there wasn't a lot of incorporation to it. It was a Guardians movie, but it just didn't feel as sincere as the first movie. The best way I could put it is like it was like a parody of itself. It was like somebody doing a James Gunn movie versus James Gunn himself doing it, the guy that created the first movie. And that happens a lot in Hollywood. There's a lot of directors that their second movies, I think, aren't quite as good. I think like the Highlander franchise, they were the same people that did the second one that did the first one. There's Batman. There's the Tim Burton Batman. I thought the second one had a lot of great art design and stuff. The characters, the casting, everything. But the movie itself, the story, it didn't feel as sincere. It didn't feel as fleshed out. It didn't feel tangible. And so for me, James Gunn just has the one movie. And the tone of Guardians is unlike really anything at DC Comics other than some of the fringe stuff, which we'll get into that. But like the Batman, Superman stuff, I don't know. I don't know if he's the right guy for that. I would actually, I think, what's his name? Johnston. the guy that directed like Rocketeer, is his name? I can't remember his name now, but that I think he did the first Captain America. He worked on the Star Wars films. That guy is really good. I think he could do a DCU. There's a couple guys that have the sensibilities, and I'm not saying James Gunn can't do it. I'm just saying Joe was, yeah, thank you. I just don't think he has the I just haven't seen it. You know what I mean? I haven't seen it with any of his movies. So let me get this article up. I'm probably going to talk for a long time, you guys, because I have quite a bit of thoughts about this. Here's the official DC movie slate under James Gunn. Gunn and Peter Safran tenure at DC Studios kicks off with 10 new projects. So this is Polygon. This is an announcement of what they're proposing moving forward with the DCU cinematic universe. So DC Studios has revealed a full slate of movie, TV projects coming soon under the leadership of Gunn and Safran. The list includes 5 feature films and 5 television series for HBO Max, headlined by 2 Batman movies and a Man of Steel reboot, Superman Legacy, in 2025. So these guys are moving 2025. I do think it's with this new kind of like way of like entertaining people, you know, with HBO Max and Disney Plus, and or whatever is it called, Disney Plus, whatever these new streaming services are. I do think it's good, and they might have a little leg up on Marvel because they're incorporating their universe from the inception with TV in mind. And so one of the things I heard is that James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to incorporate all the movie, TV, and animation together. So they're all going to have coherency and interconnecting tissue. So I think I heard them talking like they're going to use the same actor. So the same voice actor for a character, if they bring him in live action, it'll be the same actor. And they'll probably do some kind of rotoscoping or something, because they did those, what was it, for the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special that was on Disney Plus, which was pretty good, actually. They did, I forget the character's name, but they used like likenesses, like they did an animated sequence and they used the likenesses and the voices of the characters. So it sounds like that's kind of what they're going to do, even if they bring the animated stuff into the live action. So the same character design, same uniforms, all that kind of stuff. So here's the lineup. We got new DC movies, Superman Legacy. But let me, I'll save the thought. New DC movies, Superman Legacy. I just want to give you guys have probably heard this stuff, but I want to give you a little bit of backstory. And I'm not going to get too into detail about what they're doing as much as just my hot take on it. So this looks like it's coming out 2025, summer release, Superman Legacy. I do like that they got the Truth, Justice, American Way tagline back in it. And it's going to ignore the Zack Snyder stuff, which is a good thing. Henry, I can't ever say his last name. He's not going to be back for Superman. I thought he was. I thought a lot of the casting for the Zack Snyder films was pretty good. I would like to see those guys come back. I did like Ben Affleck as Batman, but I think Batman should be a younger guy. And actually, Henry, is it Cavill? I don't know how to say his name. Cavill. He is even, I think, a little too old to play the Superman to reboot a franchise. I do think that they should start with younger actors, and also by using younger actors, they'll get more screen use out of them because they will age. So I think the younger you get an actor, the better, especially if you have like longevity in mind. And I think this is an 8 to 10 year plan that James Gunn and Safran are coming up with. So then the Authority, like second on this list, the Authority. I don't think they should do the Authority at all. Like that seems like maybe if you're going to do something like this, do it like the second phase of the DCU development. I just think tonally and just attitude, it's wrong because it's kind of like it's a more darker view of like the Justice League. It's like it's kind of like the Watchmen, and I just don't think that if they're going to try to bring the Authority into the DCU, I think they're going to have a real problem because the Justice League and Authority would have a major problem. And I don't think there's any way that you could really portray the Authority as good guys in a normal DCU universe. I think the Justice League would have to put them down ASAP. So I think already the Authority tonally is the wrong thing for a DCU moving forward. And so then they have Brave and Bold, which they're going to bring Damian Wayne into it, which once again, I think they're trying to move things a little too fast. I would like, by doing that, they're bypassing a lot of Batman stories that they could tell. If you, right off the bat, if you put a kid into the equation, because then he'll never be the other Batman. He'll just be the father Batman. And that's really all you can, those are the only stories you can tell. So, that's the problem. I don't have a problem with Damian Wayne coming in. I think that at first I hated the idea. And it wasn't Grant Morrison that actually sold me on the idea. It was oh my gosh, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm really horrible with names, but I worked with him on Super Sons. He did a great job. It'll come to me as soon as I end this stream. But he was a better writer, and he actually sold me on the dynamic between Bruce and Damian. I worked with him on Super Sons, and I think he did one of the Bat books where they where it was Nightwing, it was Dick Grayson, and Damian. And I thought that it actually worked. And there's a lot of reasons why Batman and Damian can work. I have just a quick aside. I have a Damian Wayne story. I don't like him necessarily as Robin. I think he would be, like you always go, oh, legacy. There's, you have Batman's legacy, and Batman is the main character. It's not called Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Wayne doesn't have any legacy as far as Wayne Enterprises. So I thought it would be an interesting story for Damian to not want to be Robin, after a while, and then actually go to like law school, take business courses, and then actually want to take on Wayne Enterprises. Like that's how the legacy would go. Like it would be more like he would be like the grandfather. He would be like Bruce's dad. And so he would go in and he would run, the business. And so it'd be interesting to see how they would interact, because he obviously knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. And so he could actually, it would just be a fun dynamic, a fun interaction, and also maybe put them on more even footing, and then continue the legacy that way. Because I just think like we already know how this is going to end. They already have Dick Grayson, a grown-up Robin, and he became a superhero. But I think it would be interesting to have one of both, one that continues the business and then one that continues the superhero legacy. But anyways, that was a quick aside. Brave and Bold. I always thought it was a cool name, but I don't know why you would call a Batman movie Brave and Bold. Batman has got way more recognition than Brave and Bold. And so, yeah, I just don't think Robin would fit. I would rather see them do a young Batman and kind of have him move up the ranks. So I want to talk about, I already kind of established, like, to me, like you got Superman, you got Batman. That's pretty much your structure. Authority aside, you got Batman, Superman. So that's their plans, moving forward with Batman, Superman. For me, if you're going to create a coherent universe, kind of like something that Marvel did, I haven't heard any talk about tone, the universe, and the villains. Okay, so just to back up, Marvel has, I'm going to come back so you guys can see me, and I'll come back to this article. What Marvel did is they set a tone for the universe. And what I mean by tone is that it wasn't overly dark or dramatic, and it wasn't overly campy and silly, right? So it was like a middle tone. They could tell jokes, and then they could go dramatic at times. So if you think about the first Iron Man, it was dramatic. Winter Soldier, dramatic. But then you have, kind of silly fun like the Guardians, of the Galaxy. You got stuff like that. So they could kind of, you always have this one tone that you can play off of. What the Zack Snyder universe did that was fundamentally wrong is it started at the height of dramatic. Everything was dark. Everything was very, very dramatic, right? And so where can you go? If you start going humorous, which is what they try to do with that Justice League movie, it seems really out of place. It seems dumb. And so the only place you can go is dark and darker. So you kind of set that tone. So I think it's important to set a tone. That's why I think also, just to harp back on the Authority, I think it's the wrong tone. I think the DC universe is a hopeful universe. The DC universe is a really kind of straightforward universe. There are dark characters that exist within it. Like you can do a darker tone with Batman or with some of these movies, but I think Batman is a different dark tone than the Authority. And I think the Authority would, Pete Tomasi, thank you, Roland. I'm glad we got that in there. Give credit where credit is due. So I just think that the tone is really important, because the tone is what should set for all the movies, right? Like I said, you could vary a little bit, but that's kind of your tone. And that's very important to set for a movie. But a movie is just a one and done. You got 2 hours, and as long as you're consistent with the tone, then it will work. But with a franchise, a universe, an interactive universe, then you have more problems if you stray from it too far. And it's really tricky, like I said, with Zack Snyder. So then that's the tone. And then the universe, like the way that DC did or the Marvel did it, is what they realize, like the Marvel universe realized that there's normies. Everybody doesn't read comic books. So they kind of took the universe and they kind of introduced different elements, and then they just kept kind of testing the waters and building up. So they went from kind of like Iron Man, which is very nuts and bolts, literally nuts and bolts, right? So it's very basic about this guy that has this skills and makes this suit, right? I always said there's two characters. This is years and years ago. I remember talking to Mark Miller or Millar about this. And I said there's two characters that could work cinematically. It's Iron Man and Green Lantern, because the general public could get into some guy that could build this suit, especially to keep himself alive. That's relatable. It's still a little far-fetched, but it's more relatable. And then there's one thing that the general population relate to, or that will sign off on, and it's aliens. For some reason, monsters and aliens, people, supernatural people are okay with those things. So then you could introduce a Green Lantern. It's a human that there's an alien technology comes down, and then he uses that to fight. He becomes a intergalactic police officer. That's relatable. He scoffed at me. He said Iron Man would be outdated. It wouldn't work. The whole heart thing wouldn't work. The war stuff, and then he scoffed at the alien stuff as well. I still stand by Green Lantern. I just think that movie was done really poorly. And then obviously Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man proved me right. So you can kind of you can do that. And then for me, the next thing is like, well, it's still the universe. Okay, so you have the universe. So then like the Marvel universe kept kind of building. So you got this everyman, and then you do a Captain America movie that brings up like this kind of cosmic energy, right? The cosmic cube is what we used to call it in the comics. And so then you have the Tesseract, right? So then you're kind of starting to bring in cosmic and then supernatural, like Red Skull is kind of into all this stuff, but it's still rooted in like some kind of truth, because like Hitler was into supernatural and looking for artifacts and always looking for power. Whether he achieved it or not, you know what I mean? It's completely another thing. Whether it exists or not, oh man, thank you so much. This is awesome. Thank you, Dave, the Space Wizard, for the $10 super chat. It's payday. Have some money. Yes, and I will take my wife out to lunch with that money. Thank you so much, Dave. That is way too kind of you. I do appreciate it. So Dave could be the example to you guys. This is how it works. So anyway, so then you have your universe. So you start slowly introducing, like Captain America didn't seem like it was like, oh, it's the Silver Surfer, it's Galactus. It's not that. It's kind of like this cube. And then the cube also seemed like, well, what is it? Is it cosmic? Is it supernatural? Like you didn't really know. It was just this energy, this power, right? And so he was going to use it in a very grounded way. He was going to use it to power weapons, right? So these are all kind of relatable things, but you're slowly introducing this stuff. And then also the Tesseract starts building into a bigger narrative, which is this guy Thanos that wants this power. And with this power, he's going to bring world peace, or galactic, universal peace, or whatever he thinks is going to happen. And so then it becomes, you keep introducing, and then you get around to Thor, and then all of a sudden you're in a different universe. You're like Asgard, and you're introducing all this stuff, but then they still rooted it with like it's a family, right? It's like a father and his sons and a mom and two boys that are completely different, that go in different directions. So it's universal, it's relatable, even though it's cosmic. But it wasn't overly cosmic. Like they weren't getting like crazy with it. One of the problems I have with a lot of the new DC or Marvel Universe stuff is like Black Panther. They just now introduce all this tech and all this crazy stuff without grounding it. It's like they just go, well, we've established all this stuff, so now we can just do anything. And I just think that that's the wrong way to go. So universe building is important. What Marvel also got right is how each character kind of interacts with the next. So each one kind of continues this ongoing storyline. In comics, we used to call them subplots. So what you have is you have this Thanos subplot that's developing over stories. And then you realize that a lot of the bad guys that they're fighting along the way are using these powers. So you're killing a lot of birds with one stone. Like it's writing is the economics of it. You keep it. If you can, with one idea, if you can kind of like do three things with it, or more, that's great. The economy of storytelling is very, very important. It also helps you understand it and digest it better. So then they were kind of introducing slowly all of this stuff that builds to this big, Thanos invasion and all this craziness. So you're building, like with Doctor Strange, you're building, the kind of magic and supernatural aspects and things like that. So each one of the character is in its own way introducing different aspects, things that they can play with, supernatural, cosmic, street level characters, all these things. So they're keeping all this in mind while they're building the universe. And then the universe is kind of working and building into a bigger narrative storyline. So the DC stuff, for me, what I don't see in a lot of the announcements is I don't see that. I don't see a villain. I don't see an overall story arc. I don't see them building to something like a Justice League movie. Like the Marvel universe was always built on like a destination. Like you're going to get to an Avengers movie. And so what you're doing is you're establishing everything you need for that Avengers movie. Even though that first Avengers movie didn't really deal with Thanos, you got to see aspects of it teased, introduced. And then the rest of the movies kind of kept building to a big, a more epic reveal, which is Thanos's whole master plan and all this other stuff. And then like all these characters kind of connected to these things, like Guardians connected to Thanos, they used a villain to connect things. That's another thing about like Villains universe, because Villains is another thing I want to talk about. But Villains universe, villains always move plot. Heroes do not move plot. Villains do. So the villain does something, drives a car through a building, that has a bunch of people in there, and Spider-Man has to stop it before it hits the people, right? That plot, that idea was motivated from the villain. It wasn't Spider-Man. Spider-Man's reacting to those things. So you have to keep those things in mind. So other than Authority, which seems like it's dark, and maybe the Authority is going to be the ultimate villain. If they do that, then maybe it could work, right? If you tease the Authority and they're the opposite of the Justice League, so then the Justice League is formed to battle the Authority, that can work. So I'm just spitballing here. This is why I love doing this stuff. So I'm just spitballing that's potentially maybe how they could bring the Authority in a way that would work. But other than that, they haven't really announced a destination, and they haven't announced villains. So for me, like one of the things, like the death of Superman, Doomsday, when DC told me that's what they were going to do and all that, I was like, well, who's behind Doomsday? Doomsday works on his own. So Doomsday will kill Superman. Yes. Well, you have a character named Lex Luthor that has been around since the beginning, right? Wouldn't it feel more satisfactory? And wouldn't the reader get more out of it if it was Lex that did that? What if Lex orchestrated Doomsday? What if Lex was working hand in hand with Doomsday? What if he brought this thing that even he couldn't control to Earth? Then all of a sudden it feels more personal. Like Doomsday never felt personal to me. He was just this big brute that beat the shit out of Superman, right? It was just like WrestleMania. And so it never really worked. So for me with the DC universe, what I would like to see as a villain is I would like to see Lex Luthor. He seems like, to me, the only real villain that people know and that could orchestrate this. He can use all these different components. He can use cosmic. He can use supernatural. He can use, all of this stuff to fight this stuff. So for me, I would rather see I would rather see Lex Luthor put some kind of threat together that will form the Justice League. I mean, Luthor can even work with, I forget the villain group. There's DC has like the super villain kind of, I forget what they're called now. It's like they're like the Justice League. But he could even put those things in motion. So if you do a Batman story, you're introducing some of the Rogues Gallery stuff, Joker or whoever, to Batman stories. You could have some kind of subplot there that leads back to the Puppet Master or to a bigger story arc, which would be Lex Luthor. So like all signs go to Luthor, right? And maybe Luthor starts seeing, like you use that motivation that Zack Snyder said, like to make him more of a relatable guy, you use the idea that he just doesn't like superpowered beings, period. He doesn't like this vigilantism. He doesn't like that. He doesn't think that that's what the world needs. The world needs people like him that are going to solve problems, not, this Superman. So then it's part of the whole he doesn't like Superman thing. So that's the motivation, but it's also like a motivation that is kind of relatable. There are people that don't like people coming in and taking over. Most people I think don't like that. So then it's a believable kind of idea. And so for me, I really do think that DC needs to be really conscious of who they use for a villain. I think the hero is only as good as the villain. So all these ideas, as good or as bad as they might seem, are really only going to sink or swim based on the villains that they choose. You have to have a good villain. And DC has a lot of them. Like what I always thought Starro was a great character. They've already kind of done stupid stuff with Starro cinematically. I thought like it was kind of dumb. Like I wouldn't do him as like the comic book, like this giant star. I mean, you kind of can, but not like he's in the middle of a city and all that other stuff. There were storylines where they're like little Starros, and they were kind of like aliens, right? Like the Alien franchise, and they were like face huggers, and they could control people. So what I thought would be interesting to do if Lex Luthor found this alien species, and then was able to control it, and then he used that to basically control mankind, maybe even the Authority, something like that. Like, let's just say, like if you were going to give a new origin, I don't know anything about the Authority. I don't like reconstructing heroes. I think the Watchmen did it well. I just don't need watered down versions. I don't need the boys. I don't need those things. I don't find them that interesting. I don't think superheroes really work in too much reality. I think they're kids' entertainment, and they work better in a superficial way than trying to bring too much reality to them. Having said that, I think there are some people that have brought some cool reality and still tonally kept things in check and made it work. But there are others, more often than not, it doesn't work. I think those are really, really dark takes. I don't think that the Watchmen works in a DC universe. I don't think the Authority, the boys, those type of things. And I'm not saying that they're bad ideas, but they kind of work unto themselves. Also, when you're going to reconstruct something, like the Authority is a reconstruction, or the Watchmen or something, I think you need to establish the universe first. You have to learn, the viewers have to understand what you're deconstructing. If there isn't a good Justice League movie, or there isn't a universe, like a superhero universe that works and that the viewer gets to see, they don't understand the deconstruction. They don't get to see the contrast between the two. And so I think even for the Authority to work, you need to establish a healthy DCU. I just don't think it's a concept that you can lead with unless they are going to be the overarching villain. And I don't want to see that personally, but it's a way it could work. I would rather see one of the villains that I know and love that have been around in comics, like Starro. Starro also was the first Justice League villain. So if you brought the brains of it was Luthor using Starro and all that alien stuff as a way to take over the world or do whatever his evil deed is, then all of a sudden you have a great foe, and you can do it over stories. Like you could do it like all of a sudden Amanda Waller isn't acting like Amanda Waller, and she's making decisions that are very unlike her. And so then they're like, well, why is she doing this? And so then all of a sudden Suicide Squad or whoever she's controlling or working with are doing stuff that is very uncharacteristic of Suicide Squad or her, or like Lois Lane or any of these characters. And then all of a sudden they start figuring out they're not acting on their own. They're being controlled by something. And so then that could be like your subplots that keep building, right? So these things are happening throughout the movies. And then, even like the Joker is doing very unjoker like things, So if you want to motivate the Joker to do things that he normally wouldn't do, as in horrible things, you do. But also all those things lead to a bigger story. So they're not just doing things for chaos sake. They're doing things that lead to a bigger overarching villain story, which is the master plan that Lex Luthor is using. He's not only using Starro, but he'd be using all the rogues gallery, the villains of the DCU to accomplish this. So then all of a sudden there's this united thing that's happening, right? You have Lex and I'm just making this up as I go along, you guys. I had some of these kind of preconceived ideas, but not in this way. So then you have Luthor. He finds this technology or gets this technology. He finds out how it works, and then he unleashes it into the world. And so then, he's able to control important people, and maybe not just heads of state, not just that, but like also villains that he can control and focus into one world domination idea, whatever that is. Like that would have to be, a great idea. If you gave me more time, I could probably come up with it. But just off the bat, I don't have an idea for that. But anyway, I think, for me, it's not just, these ideas. I'll go back and I'll just kind of, block out some of the other plans here and gave you quick thoughts. Supergirl, I don't think anybody cares. It's also based on Tom King's Supergirl. I don't think Supergirl really works. Also, in this, there's no Wonder Woman. So you're introducing Supergirl before Wonder Woman. Yeah, I'm not sure. Swamp Thing, cool. Keep it. Oh, one of the things too that they said is they're introducing an Elseworld. So not all of these ideas, like I think, the Batman movies, and this Flash movie that they're doing, like some of this stuff are like Elseworld stories. I have thoughts about Elseworlds. Yeah, it takes care of one problem, right? So it's like, well, this isn't part of the DC universe stuff. This is a movie unto itself. That's fine. But those movies unto themselves, I don't think should be using the same characters. So like if you think about the DC universe and Vertigo, that could work for me. So you could do Swamp Thing as an R-rated movie, right? But don't bring Swamp Thing into the DC movie universe. The DC universe stuff. Keep it separate. So you can do these movies. But I still think it's going to be very, very confusing if there's two Batmans, right? Or two Supermans, or like, there's the edgier Superman and edgier Batman. I do think the branding is going to be confusing, especially for kids. So unless you're really, really distinguishing the two, like with a rating, like one is PG-13 or PG or G, and then the other one is R. You know what I mean? Then you're obviously saying to parents that these are not kid stuff. This is not kid entertainment. So then they're announcing DC Universe TV shows, Creature Commando, which I think is right up James Gunn's alley. It's going to be animated from what I understand. And then you have Waller, which they're going to use the same actress, Viola Davis, which is like, okay, you're going to use some of the Zack Snyder casting, but not anybody else's. But okay, that's fine. I don't know if Amanda Waller is that interesting of a character to get her own show, but she's only as interesting as like the situation you put her in or the villains that she's trying to keep under control. And so then you have Booster Gold, which I think could make a good one and done. I don't know about a series. Let me see. This is a DCU TV show. So Booster Gold would be a TV series. I think it would be a good 2-hour movie, one and done. I don't like Booster Gold and the DC Universe stuff, to be honest, like in Justice League stories and things. I know that's heresy, but I think it's a fun story, just his origin. He's this guy. He gets a time machine, goes back in time. He steals a flight ring from the Legion. And so I don't know how he becomes a hero in our time, but somehow he dons on a superhero suit and starts fighting crime. So that's still a leap for me. It's been a long time since I read Booster Gold, so I don't really remember his origin. I just know in any kind of realistic way, a time machine is very, very problematic. If you start bringing a time machine or time travel into a universe without really setting up rules, like very, very limited rules on how it can work, I think it then it trumps every storyline you could ever tell. Also, it undermines every story you could ever tell because it would be the most powerful weapon ever. It would trump everything. So in Booster, it just becomes like a little silly plot device to get him to go back in time, right? So that he's kind of a man out of time. And that's fine in a one and done. And then you can set up the restrictions of the time travel and all that other stuff. I do think it becomes problematic. And also it's kind of silly that there's a time machine that's in a museum that's fully active that you could use, and that future world does not use it. That's highly unlikely. So, like I said, as a silly one and done, I think Booster Gold works. So that's my thoughts about Booster Gold. I do like the character. I think he's fun, but I think the tone also would be, I don't know, it could be problematic. Lanterns, I like. I like the idea. The Green Lantern. So it's kind of a buddy cop film with Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. And I guess there's some kind of, there's going to be some kind of intergalactic detective work done. And it says it's a dark mystery. I don't know about dark mystery. But I mean, the dark mystery is they can start figuring out that there is this Starro thing that's happening or something like that. So you could tie it into my idea about Starro. So then you got Paradise Lost. This is a story about probably the birth of Paradise Island, and Wonder Woman's not in it. So you have Wonder Woman's presence as far as DC Universe stuff, but you don't have Wonder Woman. So this would have to predate all of this stuff, right? So you're saying, because, I always thought of Themyscira and the, the ladies of the of the island there as predating, superheroes, kind of thing. So I think that this could potentially be problematic, and also I just don't think it's that interesting. They said a Game of Thrones kind of drama, but I just don't think it's going to be that interesting. Maybe as a TV, it'll work. I just don't think it's. I just don't know. It's also kind of like it would predate all of this stuff. So it kind of be a not a time travel story, but it would definitely be a period piece. Which, having said that out loud, I get maybe could work, but I don't know. It leaves bad vibes. So they're leaving a lot of characters out, like Justice League characters. They're leaving Aquaman out. They're leaving the Flash out. Um, Hawkman, the Atom, Green Lantern, or Green Arrow, I mean. So Martian Manhunter. So I would like to see some of those characters being announced, especially for the first phase of this new DCU stuff. So I'm going to see what you guys have to say in the chat. Hopefully there's some good insight. Canon makes everybody crazy. I agree. Eventually Canon will always become a cluster F. Always. There's no exception. Especially based on conventional wisdom, which is like, you start this continuity, and the reason you're doing new continuity, is because you can't expect new readers to come in and understand all of this stuff that happened for decades ahead. I didn't start reading comics when they first came out, and I thought it was great. I could go to my back issues and I could find out how this happened, or the origin of this character, that, or the other thing. And so I never had a problem with that. I never quite understood, what was the DC, Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths? Like, oh, well, we got a clean house and we need to get it back to one universe, and we need to do that because it's incomprehensible. People don't understand it. Well, I thought that they did a pretty good job of understanding it. I wasn't the brightest child, and I understood Earth 1, Earth 2. I understood all that stuff. I thought it was cool. Like every year, you have a Justice Society, Justice League crossover, and I understood that there were two Batmans and all this other stuff. Older, I do think, like, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but I don't think that it's an automatic, like, well, kids just don't understand it. That's why we just need this one continuity. But then the thing is, what inevitably, it becomes a paradox. It becomes, eventually you'll get back to the same place that you started from, right? So now, like, Crisis on Infinite Earths is what, 25 years old, 30 years old, whatever the hell it is. And so all that continuity, now there's generations that don't understand that last 30 years if they start buying right now. So you've gotten to the same place that you started. So you didn't take care of any real problems. It just becomes a big crossover event, which is, if that's what you wanted to do, that's fine. But don't herald it as like, we're going to take care of some fundamental problems, because it doesn't. And I remember when I was working on the Ultimate line of books, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, those books, they had the same idea. Like, oh, we're going to do entry-level Spider-Man stories. We're going to do entry-level X-Men stories. And we're going to retell everything and stuff like that. And it was a big success. These things do become successes. But ultimately, you get back to where you started from. So ultimately, the Ultimate Universe now is 10 years into it. Kids, young kids have moved on and they're reading other things. And so now new kids are coming in and they're like, I don't understand any of this. You're making references to stuff I don't know. And so I never thought that was a solution. Just keep moving universe forward. Just keep telling stories, and try not to get too hung up on overall continuity. I do think these movies are going to get themselves into similar problems. But Yeah, that's for another show. We got Past Master Dan, Legion of Doom, Doomsday, to a jobber like Roman Reigns. Um, oh, okay. Let me see. Yeah, you could do that. But if you would have, like, if Endgame maybe had once again another subplot, you know, or they handled it better. I think they just handled it better because if you do end like the first 10 years with an end game, literally, end it. Um, then you have the opportunity to build up a new universe, the same way you did before. But they didn't do that. They just kind of shortcutted um, stuff. They just introduced characters like you know who they are. A bunch of characters that didn't have anything to do with an overall, story arc. Things like that. Canon makes everyone crazy. Yep. Hey, Nintendo. Sorry, I need to wet my whistle. What is this? Waller is going to get Superman's powers. Just you see. Cavill is out. Waller is in. We're just wallering. We're just wallering here. Garbaggio. Let's see. Oh, so Roland, I think he's talking about Booster. He's literally a custodian at the superhero museum who just pockets a bunch of displays to become a hero in the past for money. Okay. Once again, it could be a fun 2-hour story, right? One and done. Get in, get out. I just don't think it's an ongoing story. And if you did it as a 2-hour, you could really set up the parameters and not violate those parameters. As an ongoing, I think it gets harder and harder to do that. Probably not. So Marcus says, my question is, will Supergirl have boobs? If she does, they'll be very minuscule, kind of like what they did with Black Panther. It's weird, like they got the most unshapely woman they could find to become Black Panther. Nothing against the actress. I think she did a good job with what they gave her. But there are no curves to that Black Panther. There's the one actress I'm horrible with names anyways. And before you guys say senility and old age, I've always been like this ever since I was young. I have absolutely no recall. But if you guys have seen the movie, she was in the first Black Panther. She was the love interest. And so she kind of dons on this like skin tight outfit at some point in the story. And she's got quite a little shape on her. So I was like, make her Black Panther. Because the girl they got to play Black Panther, other than the slight build, which could still be like, it could be a young guy, you can't really even tell it's a woman. Maybe that's what they were going for. Aunt Pam, did you guys see Pamela? Where is she? Where? I don't see her. Maybe it's literally going to be a dark mystery because it's in space. In space, no one can see you coming. I saw an image, and I don't know if it was concept art or what it was, but they didn't have masks on, which I don't know. Masks to me, sometimes they don't make any sense. But you know what? When you're when you're a 7 to 15-year-old reading comic books, they're the coolest shit in the world. So I would like to see them with masks on. But the artwork I saw, they didn't have masks on. Yeah, well, you're better at the math than I am. Yeah, so I don't know the evolution of Themyscira. I never really cared about any of that. I guess the good thing is maybe if they bring it back to the mythology and like so there's like all the Greek gods and monsters and all of that stuff. If they did stuff like that, it does say it's like Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones has the dragons and stuff like that. So if they made it really like bombastic, they really pushed it with like monsters and different things like that, maybe supernatural, maybe it could be cool, but not in any superhero way. No Flash. Does that mean Flashpoint is finally canceled? Oh, what I meant, I don't know. I heard conflicting that they're but I think the newest one is that they still are going to do the Flashpoint. And from what I hear, it is going to give birth to this new DC universe. I don't know why you would do that. I don't have enough faith that they're going to be able to do that. So I guess maybe they go back in time before all that stuff happens. So the Zack Snyder universe is one potential world that could exist, and then they go to this, new world. But then wouldn't that mean that Flash would be of this new world? And if so, he has access to quite a bit of information that everybody else wouldn't. So then would the Batman be the smartest man in this universe, or would the Flash be? He's seen worlds and stuff that Batman's never seen. I think he potentially could get into trouble because it's also it's time travel. And I always think time travel is very, very problematic unless you deal with it in a very finite way, like a 2-hour movie or a one and done. And then even still set up very, very rigid rules for how time travel works. Otherwise, you get yourself into problems, because if the Flash can then move throughout time effortlessly, then everything would be null and void. Everything would be pointless. What would be he could go back and stop something from happening before it happens. I don't like these ideas. I really don't. And I don't like Ezra Miller. I don't like him as a human being. I thought some of the characters, like he plays these weirdos and stuff, and I think, they're okay. But he doesn't seem like Barry Allen to me. Yeah, I would rather, personally, I'd rather not see that. So already, if you're using this as a starting point for the new universe to move forward, I'm not sure about that. I think what they have to, this is the one thing about creativity, especially if you're talking about long-term creativity, is you have to really project the stuff way, way down the line, and like the potential problems that you could be creating. So if you don't set the universe up right, which is like tone, all those things I was talking about early on, then you're going to get yourself into problems. So I think that the Marvel universe, when they introduce time travel, it's done, right? Like after that, who cares? They could do anything. And so time travel would be the most powerful weapon. Nukes would be nothing. Every potential weapon that we've created up to this point would be pointless against time travel. So Yeah, I don't like the idea for many reasons. One, the time travel aspects of it, and Ezra Miller. I think Ezra Miller should stand trial, um, and I think he should face the judicial process just like any of us would have had to. I don't like when people get special treatment, especially in this day and age when you have companies talking about equitable results and everything being fair and all this other stuff. But what's fair about this? The dude's a criminal, and he should at the very least he should stand trial. There should be a trial. That's my soapbox right there. Let's see. Behold the truth. Behold. Gunn looks like he's going for more goofy, infantile rubbish like the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. Well, that stuff could work for certain concepts. It's not going to fly with Superman. It's not going to fly with Batman. I don't think. I mean, ideally, what I'd like to see, I would like to see Superman get back to his sci-fi roots. Um, and Superman was like, what was it called? It was an action adventure sci-fi humor book. That's how they used to when Superman was first created. That's how they defined the book. So there was always humor in the Superman books and sci-fi. So I would like to see the sci-fi element played up more in Superman. And for Batman, uh, I want to see the James Bond gizmos. I want to see all that cool stuff, all his gadgets. I want to see cool branding. I want to see cool designs for the Batmobile, stuff like that. I mean, Hollywood's been moving farther and farther away from that stuff. I don't say we go back to necessarily, the Batmobile from '66 or the Burton stuff or any of that, but I would like to see some cooler branding with Batman. Um, Also, I think you know the Dark Knight stuff, the detective stuff. Like I'd like to see him less superheroic. I'd like to see it more boots to the ground, more crime drama. Like finding evidence, all that stuff, but still in a very superhero way. Because I love that aspect too. Um, with cool gadgets, things like that. But not necessarily even like oh, we have to explain how this gadget works to the fullest extent. Just cool stuff, man. Like I thought what was really cool in the first Tim Burton is the grappling hook because with the cape, it makes a cool silhouette, when he's coming down or moving up or whatever. And it's a quick way of getting out. You could also fire that grappling gun at people. Um, let's read the Deathbringer. They were looking to a guy for young Superman, looking like young Cavill. I would like them working at a younger cast, which could lead to a brighter Snyder cast and universe. Yeah, because also when you have older characters, they're more beat up, they're more jaded. They're less hopeful. I think youth brings hopefulness to a universe, and also just like I said, the practicality of they're going to get older, so you can have more screen time with them. I agree. I think they should scratch Flashpoint. um, maybe just release it on HBO Max or something like that, and just make sure that people know this has no bearing on anything moving forward. Because I do kind of want to see it, but I just don't think it's a great way to move a franchise, a new universe going forward. Ezra Flash movie is going to be the linchpin to this all of this. That's what I heard, and also I don't want to see him in the new universe moving forward. I don't want to see that actor. Period. I don't think he brought much to it. I think maybe as a bumbling guy that's just starting out, as a young guy that's trying to come to terms with his powers and stuff. But other than that, I don't think he brings much to it. I don't think he can bring the heroic aspects to the character. But we'll see. L.E. Munoz says, I can't stand Azra. It's a pass for me. Yeah, I'm really on the fence with all that stuff. Let's see. I'm not sure what Pastmaster Dan is referring to. I think you can incorporate history within the tale without taking them out of the story. Yeah, the only one I think that could be like a historical piece or somewhat would be that Paradise Island. Roland says Crisis on Infinite Earth was 37 years ago. Between then and 0 Hour, 52 Infinite Crisis, and 52 Rebirth, Future State, and Dark Crisis. Stop already. Stop renumbering things. Also, the thing, what this industry doesn't understand, once you start renumbering, the legacy and the collectability goes down the tubes. Like if you have like the New 52 stopped like historical numbering, you stop the collectability because there are people that are completionists and they want the whole run. And so when you stop it, they might stop too. You know, not everybody's super crazy about #1 issues. I thought like Image Comics, one of the smarter and more forward-thinking guys was Todd McFarlane because he kept the numbering going with Spawn. So now historically, you could look at Spawn and you can see how many issues, I don't know how many, 100 issues or whatever. And then you know that thing had legs. You know that this was a good concept. People wanted it. It's a proven seller. It has longevity. When you have a book that you go from 1 to 25 and then you renumber it after that, there's no stability to that book. There's no collectability to it. There's no sense of success. I think higher numbers are a sign of success of a title. That's just me. Hey Philip, what's up, man? Art, great to see you. Yeah, I'm actually back in front of the YouTube camera. I've been working so hard. I'm trying to scale back on a lot of stuff just so I can get black and white done. And that's not just YouTubing, but just about everything in my life. I feel bad. I'm a shut-in, but my wife probably misses me as well. Oh yeah, that's right. So John doesn't wear a mask. But the image I saw was Hal Jordan too, and Hal Jordan didn't have a mask. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense too. Like, if the mask is to conceal your identity, then oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. They did cast another Supergirl for that that Flashpoint movie, right? I saw images. Whatever. And then there's that Superman with what is that buffoon's name? Yeah, I hope that doesn't work either. But now they have the Elseworlds label, but they're going to have to make sure they're going to have to brand it Elseworlds. So they're going to have to like Elseworlds, like cinematically, so people know the difference. So they're really going to have to be careful how they brand that stuff, because I do think there's going to they could potentially create confusion in the marketplace. It's very hard to do time travel stories right. 12 Monkeys did it well. All one and dones can do it. Like Terminator didn't get into trouble until they tried to keep it going. If you tried to keep Back to the Future going, beyond the trilogy, I think you potentially get into problems, because what would stop somebody from just changing time? You know, 12 Monkeys is a great movie. Oh my gosh. Ellie Munoz. I absolutely dig that movie. I love that it's not real clear what's going on, and it just kind of keeps moving, and you think 12 Monkeys is the key, and then you realize it's just a throwaway. Like, that's how, what do they say? What is the new way of storytelling, where you uh, expectations, you diminish expectations, or whatever that thing is. You have Luke Skywalker throw the lightsaber over his shoulder, and that's like diminishing expectations or whatever. It's like, yeah, you do that, but then you have to come back with something better than that. And 12 Monkeys does. Um, and it's also like this major revelation where you just realize those guys are just a bunch of idiots. But it was a clue. It's like a great detective story, on how the guy figures everything out. Just a great movie, man. Let's see what Past Master Time Travel would equate to: a hiccup in the soundtrack that would be freaking annoying. Um, Blackjack, Hell CG, indeed. The best thing to ever happen to comic books, CG. Here's yeah, I don't have time to read anymore, but Downtiming, The Nightshade, by Jack Chalker. The Bat Shark Repellent. Yeah, let's bring it back, man. Yeah, I don't think Chris Wozniak's going to be that generous with any more Batman stories. Guy in his room. Did you see the Batman recent movie? Actually, really liked that approach, even though his whimpery Batman voice was weird. What's that? Whippery? I haven't seen it. My daughter Amanda knows I love Batman. Huge Batman fan, and she recommended I didn't see the movie. I liked some of the ideas. Maybe I'll see it. I don't know. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. How do you say this? Hurley, Hurley, the Hurley guy. Sorry if I butchered your name. Sup Art. Let's see. Beholden the Truth. I like when people agree. I agree about adding more sci-fi to Superman, hopefully with an actor in the mold of Christopher Reeves. Yes. And they did say that they want to keep it optimistic in more of a cynical world. And I've said that for decades. Don't change Superman, change the world he lives in. Always keep him the hopeful guy, because then you have contrast, you have drama. Whenever you have contrasting ideas and characters and stuff, then you have stories. If you have no contrast, if he's just as jaded as the world he lives in, then who gives a shit? That you have no tension. So Batman works, because there are these hopeful aspects to it, and on some level, Batman can be aspirational. Like as Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, this was a very jaded character that relearned how to be hopeful again, how to help people. And at the end, he doesn't necessarily like, I'm going to be Batman and fight crime. He steers those what were they called? The mutant Batman characters, the street terrorists. He kind of redirected them in a more positive way to police the city, and so he's a dark, aspirational character, but but the ends don't justify the means. That's like authority stuff. That's you know, that's Watchmen stuff. It's just not it's not Batman stuff to me. Blackjack says, I have no desire to watch anything since the Nolan Batmans. It's going to take a lot to get me to watch something DC again. I agree. I agree. Yeah, I think some of it's predatorial, but to be honest, I kind of like some variant covers. Uh, I just like to see different artists. And also I like the idea of like being able to buy a different cover, but not necessarily being blackmailed into it or having to pay a premium price to get it. But I do like, because sometimes variant covers can give you different artists' take on a character. Past Master says, it's been my experience that when things get hung up and stale, it's time to go back to basics and capture the original spirit of the book. I agree. And sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't. Oh, thanks, Phil. Yeah, working every day. And I do have some pages I'm going to show you guys. I'm working on a scene right now. AV8R Surge says, hey, Art. Hey, chat. Leg kick. Let's see who else. There's a new name. I like new names. Alien Sans Space IRL. The 12 Monkey Show. I never wanted to see it. It's like Dark Knight Returns. Like there's certain things like the Watchmen series, and even when DC went back to the Watchmen as far as a comic, you can't do it, man. You can't go back to these things. Boring. It's lightning in a bottle. Oh yeah, subvert expectations. That's the subverting expectations has become a cringe phase after. I think it can potentially be. Everything's a double-edged sword, right? For every pro, there's a con, right? With the same idea. So you can subvert expectations in a good way, and then you can do it in a horrible way. Like, like if you were really going to show, that Luke was jaded and he didn't want to have anything to do with it, and he throws the lightsaber away. Well, don't do it in a comical way. Like, it was the way he did. He throws it over his shoulder. That's like a cartoon. That's like camp. Like, that's not a contemptuous gesture. That's not somebody that's removed from the moment, from his past. He doesn't care. This is, what is that? That's like a comical, like, it's just stupid. If he would have just dropped it and walked away, I think it would have been more impactful. Like, he doesn't care about it at all. But then you still have to bring it back to a level. And I don't think she should go back. She should have went back for it. Like, I think that she wins him over, and then to show, as you need these visuals to show a character becoming who they need to be. He climbs down there, and it's not easy to go retrieve it. Make it very, very hard for him to get it. And then it's also slightly damaged or something like that. So he has to repair it, and he realizes what it meant, and he realizes what he needs to do with it. Make it about that. Make it something better. Just stupid. Oh, that's cool. No problem, man. I understand. A guy in his room says Commissioner Gordon also did a weird whispery voice. So it has too distracting. The Riddler was great in it, but it's not actually the Riddler, the comic book Riddler, right? It's some different. 8-bit says I started watching it, fell asleep. I heard it's a little long. The new Batman movie. Do latex fetish. Some people like that though. Yeah, you guys really don't seem to like that Batman movie. Let me catch up and then I'll show off some black and white art. Do, do, do. Yeah, they, like James Gunn's also coming in like I love the DCU. I've read the book since I was a kid. Well, then don't make them James Gunn like, make them more like the comic book. James Gunn's Suicide Squad is trash. When Hardy can fight like Batman and John Cena is very annoying. Um, I don't like John Cena since he bent the knee to, was it China? That that was cringy, as the kids say. That was sickening. I am sorry. Oh, come on, man. Really? Yeah, all superhero movies are too long anymore. Every single Marvel movie is over 2 hours. Yeah, I think that Black Panther movie. Oh my gosh, there was like maybe 3 moments in that movie, and those 3 moments might have lasted, 3 to 5 minutes. So I don't know. Give it the benefit of the doubt. There's 15 minutes of good entertainment in a 2.5 hour movie or whatever the hell that thing is. David the Space Wizard says, I really enjoyed it, but there was part where you thought the movie was over, but it kept going. Yeah, it has like a false ending, I heard. 3-point storytelling works best. Yeah, beginning, middle, end. Yeah, don't overcomplicate. I mean, for a superhero movie or, something like that. Wow, you guys really didn't like that Batman movie. Let me see what Henry says. Who is James Gunn and what is he doing? James Gunn is a director. If I'm taking this seriously, he was a director for Marvel, and he did the Guardians movies. And so now he's overseeing the new DC universe moving forward. So he's the Kevin Feige of DC, taking over for Zack Snyder, who they should have known from the very get go was the wrong move. Too dark, too damn dark. Let me see. Ba, ba, ba. I'm not into. Yeah, you know what? I'm busting out like some of my old Justice League books from the '70s and stuff. I've been kind of reading some of the older stuff as well. Um, I'm not into the movies anymore. I'd rather spend the time reading the classic comics, instead of watching the current movies or shows. Um, oh my gosh, that Moon Knight. Like, I think the first 2 or 3 episodes were good. Man, that thing just went off the edge there. Do, 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 do. Oh, okay. People are being too harsh. The Batman was good. I'd rather watch it than the last Nolan Batman with Bane. That movie's horrible. Yeah, that movie is really bad. Um, it's not even really a Batman movie. I don't know what the hell that movie's really, really bad. It felt like a first draft pitch versus like a third or fourth draft, where they worked all the problems out. Yeah, that movie was really bad. Let me see. What is your opinion on Joker 2? I don't think there should be a sequel. I didn't see the first one. To be honest, I mean, they took all the fun aspects out of the Joker. Um, it just becomes like a falling down type of movie. And not that I don't like those type of movies. I think they're fine. I think like Falling Down and those type there's some cool wish fulfillment aspects, especially if they go after the people that wrong them. Because everyday people would like to just take a baseball bat to their boss and kneecap them. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of some fun wish fulfillment. But I just don't. I'm kind of talking it on my butt because I didn't see the Joker, but that's what I understand the movie is, and I just don't think, like, who cares? They've already made that movie. Yeah, Joaquin Joker was more a psychological horror movie to me. What they used to call those, thrillers. I will watch the animated Batman much better than the live action. All the animated Batman stuff's good. I still pull out Batman Beyond. That is a great reimagining of Batman. That thing is done so well. It's kind of like Batman meets Spider-Man. Like that Terry McGinnis characters like Peter Parker. With this cool grizzled mentor, which is kind of what they did in the Marvel universe, like bringing Iron Man in to mentor um, Peter Parker. I have to disagree, man. Batman versus Superman was the worst. It's a bad idea, bad execution. That's the one that actually put the nail in the coffin for me with Zack Snyder. I could go into detail, but it would take too long. So if you liked it, that's cool, Henry. I mean, that's the thing about these movies is like it's okay to like them. I think it's equally okay to dislike them. I talk about this stuff more like a fan, like stuff I would like to see. Um, it's just fun to speculate and to go into these kind of creative conversations. That's about it. Okay, so let's do this. Let's conduct a little business here. Black and White's been doing very, very well for a campaign that's been in demand for a while. It's still doing it. We are closing in on $122,000. That's $122,000. That is crazy, you guys. 1,400 backers, over 1,400 backers, and I do want to really. There's a couple things that are going to go away. So I wanted to lead with that. So the black and white Keshi figures, once these are sold out, they're sold out. And we got the Inko tees. So we have a ton of add-ons. So this 10 claimed is nothing. Like this Inko t-shirt is selling very, very well. You guys seem to like the Hack Shack mascot, Inko, with the slogan, "That's Good Ink." So this month, the 15th, look at the updates for more detail. We will be pulling this tier down. We're gearing up to kind of streamline the campaign so we can get to fulfillment. So we want to get the numbers for the t-shirts so we can get them ordered. So we're going to close that down, like I said, January 15th. So we have the black and white wraparound t-shirt, which we will be closing out as well. you know what? I'm going to go up to the updates. I think there's better images. Yeah, so here's the ink OT, a bigger visual. And so then we have the black and white wraparound. So white's on the front. There's this cool, the Yin Yang Gun Sight logo for black and white is over the one pocket. And then the sleeve has the full-on black and white logo. And then the other sleeve has the Hack Shack Studios logo, which is very cool, you guys. And also the layouts. The layouts are going away as well. So the layouts right now are the only place you can get original artwork from. And I'm going to be closing this out too because they're very limited. And I do have a few more original pages that I'll be posting as we move along. But other than that, that's the originals. So I just want to thank you guys. We have all kinds of cool stuff. We have variant covers. We have the main cover here. We have the Kenneth Rocafort cover. And then we have the Joe Bennett cover while we're name dropping. We have Von Klaus's High Octane Adventure along with Pedro Eng on pencils, inks, and colors. Great animation style. And then we have the second printing with a new cover. The first edition completely sold out, you guys. So thank you for that. And then we have the Grey Capullo. Since I'm name dropping, we still have a few of these variants. So this is a remastering of the original 1994 Image miniseries. And Grey Capullo did I think it was a double page pinup. Those were the days you didn't do variant covers, you did pinups. So, so there you go, you guys. Thank you so much for supporting this campaign. You guys are the best. I do appreciate everything you do. Some shout outs would be great today if you've already backed it. Regardless, shout outs are always welcome. If you haven't backed this book, please do so. And yeah, so let's get on. Let's get on with some of the artwork. Let's screen share again, pull all the right levers, push all the right buttons, and boom, boom, baby. Here we go. So, like I said, this is, let me get a drink of water. I'm a little dry today. I'm out of the practice of talking. So this is page 47. So I want to tell you stories so bad, but I'll not do that. So you see a angry Whitney. She's not happy with JC, who's taken over this mech suit, and she wants this guy hurt. So I like the effect. It's going to be cool in color as well, where this mech has kind of like, I forget what they call it. It's glass that has kind of like these unstable molecules, and they can shift. So it can become frosted where you can't see in, and then it can become like transparent. And so that's this effect that I tried to do with the ink. And once the color hits, this is going to be absolutely badass. So it's kind of an Imano, type of fight. G versus E in the classic sense. So she's coming down on the mech canopy. And the first panel, there's a crack in the canopy. So what she's going to do is she's going to exploit the weakness. God, I think this pose came out so good. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. All the detail, all this tech and stuff. It's not that easy to draw. Getting these suits right is not that easy. And then we have her using that canopy weakness as a way to bust through it. And so this last panel on this page, I had it drawn out and it wasn't quite as dramatic as I wanted. So I kind of moved the head up, and I'm going to do a little bit of the shoulders, neck and shoulders. And it's going to imply that he's not doing so well. So I don't want to give too much away. And so then what gave me the inspiration is let me show you this other page, and then I'll show you the inspiration. So this is more of the same scene playing out. So this is her like just kind of twisting the knife, as they say. And so this second panel, I'm looking at that, and it's not as dramatic as I want it to be. He doesn't look like he's in that much pain. So I remember when I woke up, I remembered a scene in one of my favorite comic books, and I'll show you that scene. And so then this morning I went back. I wonder if I can no, I can't. To this second to the last panel. So he's just getting destroyed. So our villain here, JC, is getting destroyed. So you see like the scale increase. So what I want to do with this second panel is I'm going to bring more of that to this panel. So you can see from this page where he's getting, basically he's getting impaled, to this page where it's just kind of just getting destroyed. So then the last panel, an off panel blast comes out and hits her and interrupts, actually just killing the guy. And so then Black, he's always one step ahead of the game, since he's an ex-spy and kind of, he's been around the block a couple times, and he's preparing an explosive device. So we'll see how that plays out later. So I just love this stuff, you guys. I'm having the time of my life drawing this book. I think the results, I'm really getting into these characters. They're starting to, the continuity's there. I can draw these characters in my sleep now. Just really cool stuff. I like this panel here with the lighting. Let me see on her. I like some of this stuff. I'm just patting myself on the back here. You have, let me see, I can do this better if I do it this way. Let's do it this way. I can't. Let's see. Okay. You have this opening here. Why isn't it working? Oh, there it goes. It's on a delay. Okay, so this might not work. The computer's working really slow. So you have this, and then it comes down into this, and then you have this movement here, which brings you down, and then this, and then this. So the staff is kind of leading your eye all the way down, and it starts with this hole in the canopy, and then it ends with it going through the canopy here of the mech. So I don't know, like I said, patting yourself on the back, but there's a lot of artistry to storytelling. And I think this is one of those pages, for me, it really works. And I like the way this page is coming out. Okay, so let's, the inspiration. So I'm sure any comic book fan knows what this is. So this is, let me pull it back. This is Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. So this is the opening sequence with Bruce Wayne. And he's basically got a death wish. So he's racing this fast car. And so I remember like the cockpit area just catching on fire and him in the middle of it. So some of this is a little too abstract. It's hard to read, but, like you see his teeth and like, I don't even know what some of this stuff is. But then this last panel right here, is just so cool. You just, and then the news report, spectacular finish to the Newman elimination as fair as 600 pinwheel across the finish line, a flaming coffin for Bruce Wayne. Just good stuff, good stuff. And so I just remember like just the agony that Bruce is in this cockpit of the car. And so then I use that as inspiration I'm going to redo this panel here. And then this second to last panel is me redoing it. So you can see the obvious ode to Frank Miller. But I dig that stuff. I don't think it's a ripoff, but it's just kind of inspiration. And then this is how it all starts. So he's basically trapped in the mech and can't get out. So he's just kind of a victim, like you said, like a coffin, basically. So I might even use that line. I love that stuff, man. I love it. So very good, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's fun. It's fun. I knew I was going to have a blast. I didn't know I was going to have this much fun hanging out with you guys. I feel like I'm being social again. I feel healthier. I have been locked in my own coffin. This isn't my coffin. The studio for a long time. Strangely, we're going to go out with friends Monday night. We're going to go have dinner and see a movie. So that'll be good for the soul, hanging out with my wife and our friends here in Texas. So all good, man. Thanks you guys for hanging. Thanks for all the great comments. Like I said, I feel a little better now. Cleared my head, got to hang out. Wait, what is this? Henry says, Art, please show us that scene you were talking about from one of your favorite books. Oh, yeah. So I took care of that. Oh, man. Always with the digs. Always, past master is one of those giving and taking. Like he'll give you with one hand and he'll take with the other. Unlike Andino, which is just he'll just take. All right, you guys. Well, very good, man. Thanks for hanging with me. I hope you got something out of that. I still have hopes for the DC universe. I think it's just as a passing thought, a parting shot is it's all going to depend on who James Gunn partners with too. You know what I mean? Like if he can get out of his own way and find really suited directors, visionaries to work on these franchise characters, Superman, Batman, whatever, I think it'll work, but his sensibilities, if he injects his sensibilities too much on this entire franchise, I'm not so hopeful. I'm not so hopeful about that because I haven't seen a wide range with his storytelling. It seems like he's a one-hit wonder. And what he does, it's very, very good. But I don't think that's going to apply to everything in the DC universe. So on that note, you guys take care. Thank you so much for the super chat. I'm gonna use it to buy my wife lunch after this, and I'm gonna get back to work. So take care, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you later.